Good afternoon. I'm Elena Serfilippi. I'm the coordinator for resilience research for COSA, the Committee on Sustainability Assessment. I would like to thank Lutheran World Relief for this invitation. And during this presentation, we are going to talk about some methods to standardize the measurement of resilience. And in particular, we are going to talk about a practical toolkit that we are designing in order to measure resilience. So, who are we? As many of the people in this room know, Resiliencia is a learning consortium of partners, and we are working together to accelerate agricultural sustainability. And we mainly work with a set of indicators that are used to assess a multidimensional sustainability. So we consider social, economic, and environmental dimension of sustainability. And these indicators can be applied for different crops. But we don't only work in sustainability right now, but we also work on resilience. So what we are going to do in this new project, that is the resilience one, that we start to develop in January 2016, is to actually build a practical toolkit for measuring resilience, and with a proper set of indicator, metrics, and survey questions for measuring resilience. Actually, the practicality is the core element of this toolkit. We acknowledge the great effort that has been done by the academic community, the development agency around resilience measurement, and we don't want to reinvent anything. We don't want to build something new. Actually, our project started from a review of the main metrics indicators around resilience that are in the literature. And what we want to do is to see whether there is a way to simplify this indicator in order actually to use these indicators in a project that sometimes require a level of simplification because they are low-cost projects and not only expensive projects like impact assessment projects. So actually, what we want to do is to build this toolkit for measuring resilience based on the experience of many people in this room that work on resilience. We consider their own indicators, their own metrics, and we actually are going to distill these indicators and metrics in order to simplify when it's possible. And then we want to make a toolkit that is a public good, so it's public available and easy accessible by everybody, by communities, by supply chain. And why is easy accessible? Because we provide not only a library of indicators, of metrics and survey questions, but also we would like to provide guidelines to actually use the toolkit in the field. What are the steps of this project? So we start, as I told you, with a review of the main indicators and metrics using the literature. This review is almost ready. Coming from this review, we draft the first set of indicators that are present in the literature, and we want to build a group of experts, you are the experts actually, that can work, and we want to work with you in distilling these indicators and metrics in order to have our own set of indicators and metrics that we can apply together in your project, in COSA project, or in common projects. And at the end of the implementation, the pilots, we would like to make this toolkit publicly available. So actually where we are now, we start, so the literature review is finished. We have a first draft of indicators, and we are building this group of experts that can work with us to distill these indicators. And we are going to pilot these indicators soon in some projects that we have. Actually, to give you an idea of this classification of indicators, I prepare a table. This is only an example of the indicators and how we would like to classify these indicators. Actually, this classification is based on COSA classical classification of indicators that consider three dimensions that are the social, economic, and environmental. But then we add other two characteristics for the classification. One is the capacity. We want to classify these indicators based on the capacity that Angelica already explained, that are the adaptive, the absorptive, and the transformative capacity. So we want to follow this capacity approach together with the capital approach, because associated to this each capacity, you can see that we put a capital. For example, if you have the indicator access to school, the core element is basic services, the corresponding capital is physical capital, and the corresponding capacity is transformative capacity. So this is our classification of indicators. This is only an example. And close to the description, we have also the benchmarking literature, because as I told you, we didn't invent these indicators, but these indicators are coming from the literature. So close to each indicator, you can see which agency or which NGOs are using this kind of indicator. So actually, how can we apply this toolkit? So as I told you, we can apply this toolkit in different ways. So actually, we can have, for example, an impact assessment project with a baseline, an intervention, for example, a resilience-specific intervention, and then you have an endline. And then, this is with the treatment, the control, this is the general scheme of an impact evaluation. And if between the baseline and the endline you don't have a shock, for example, you can still evaluate, for example, the changes of resilience over time, because resilience is not only absorptive capacity, but is also transformative and adaptive capacity. And you can also, of course, see the effect of intervention on resilience. And then if you have a shock between the baseline and the endline, you can evaluate the resilience and specific to that shock, how this resilience is affected by the intervention. And of course, we can always see how this resilience is affecting the general well-being. But we also talk about performance monitoring project, for example. So together with impact assessment project, either in an impact assessment project or in a separate project, we can simply monitor the changes of resilience over time and to see what are the critical areas that we have to improve the resilience itself. So actually, then this toolkit, of course, and this set of indicators and metrics give us the possibility to make research around resilience. So, for example, with a friend of mine, that is Carlos, we were thinking about the possibility to explore this research idea using a data set that we have, that is a Guatemala data set, and we have in this data set actually, so in the Guatemala project we have an impact evaluation based on a baseline and endline, and we have a shock between the baseline and the endline. The shock is the leaf rust. So what we want to do actually is to see how the resilience capacity can affect, what we want to see is the effect of the resilience capacity on the difference in yields between the baseline and the endlines, and in particular on the yields losses. So actually this toolkit gives us a lot of possibility. You can use it, as I told you, in a different impact assessment, performance monitoring. We can use the data for research paper. And thanks for your attention, and if you need other information, you can contact me at this email address. And I would like to ask you your participation in this project, because the basic idea is really to distill these indicators together. So we made the first effort, that is this first library of indicators, but we can improve it and we can simplify it thanks to your help. So thank you for your attention.
Dos preguntas.
you spoke about looking for pilots to test the resilience toolkit. What kind of project, and would it be an initiative that would need to have a certain number of years of data, for example? What kind of project are you looking for pilots, and the people in this room, how for them to think about that?
Actually, we're thinking to pilot these indicators in an impact assessment project that we have in Peru. And is only way to test, of course, this first set of indicators. But all the projects that are around sustainability, also around adoption of best agronomic practices, training are welcome. Not only impact assessment projects, but as I told you, also projects that are low-cost projects that want to monitor, for example, some characteristics, also food security, for example, and we can add some resilience-specific resilience-specific characteristics in order to assess the needs in that specific context and whether the people are resilient and which kind of resilience capacities should be improved. So the project can be different kind of project, also low-cost project. We want only, in low-cost project, of course, we will never use the entire library of indicators, but we select the most important ones, and we see how these people, we can see if these people are resilient or not, and what we can do to improve their level of resilience.